I'll admit I wish this whole thing was over already, but it should only be for a week. We listen, watch, and let the boss do the talking. At least we're not him." Petru nodded in agreement. I didn't envy Kane in this endeavor. Getting the dragons to come back on board with sending some of their own over twice a year so we could all feed from them was going to be tricky. Since the merfolk had started attacking anyone or anything in the seas trying to get to Blackvale, the dragons had broken their agreement to assist. Now that a treaty was in place with the new king of the sea, we were hoping Aldrich would revert to our original agreement. Honey, Kane's newly acquired assistant, approached Petru and me. "I received word the dragons have entered Blackvale. It shouldn't be long now." "Thanks, Honey." I faced Petru. "Would you update Kane?" "Yes." He stalked off toward the library while I did one more sweep of the bottom floor. I wasn't nervous like Jace, nor was I irritated like Petru. I didn't have an opinion of the dragons. They'd gotten the call hundreds of years ago, like the rest of us, that this world needed our help. They'd answered it, and without them, it would have crumbled. We all had jobs to do and needed to work with each other. I could understand that. What I wasn't happy about was how pretentious they were. I'd held Congress with quite a few dragons in my life, and each thought they were the best of all creatures. They sneered at anyone not born of dragon blood and never had a good word for humans. This visit would be very interesting. I could only hope Aldrich was as kind and respectful as Kane said he was. The kitchen was bustling when I went to check on the staff. The dragons' appetites were plentiful and specific, keeping the cooks on their toes and causing a lot of chaos. I left them to it and went to double-check the rooms the dragons would be using. "I gave the largest guest room to the Emperor." Mancy opened the first door. "I was told his sister Aubriana would be in attendance as well. Her room is beside his." "Very good, Mancy. And the others?" "Directly across the hall. I figured they'd like to be close to each other. It also gives them the feel that they have a whole wing." "Well done. Let Honey know if you need any extra help up here during their stay. It can be arranged." "Thanks, Emile." Mancy hurried off, likely to complete last-minute duties. "Emile, they're 10 minutes out," Honey said when I reached the foyer. I went to the library to inform Kane and retrieve Petru. "Sir, they'll be here soon. Petru, take position." "Jace, would you like to stay in here and be introduced when we come into the library?" Kane gathered Jace's hand in his. There was no hiding Jace's nervousness. No, I can do this." He stood, and hand in hand, Kane and Jace left the library. Petru took a few vampires with him outside, and I waited with Kane and Jace. Honey was by the door, and we were ready for our guests. As stoic as ever, the Blood Boss waited for the Emperor of Dragons, and I remained vigilant for any outcome that would present itself when those doors opened.
Chapter 2. Aldrich. Aubriana stared out the window as our caravan drove through the streets of Blackvale. The rain was coming down in buckets, and flashes of light lit up the clouds. But it was the loud thunder and her lack of reaction that worried me. Growing up, Aubriana was terrified of the thunder. She'd run into my bedroom whimpering, and I'd have to sing to her until she finally fell asleep. Now there was nothing. No emotion, no reaction, as if she were only the shell of the vibrant dragon I once knew her to be. "We're arriving, Emperor." My driver pulled my attention from my sister toward the window where the enormous estate stood. I had contemplated flying in myself, but in Aubriana's state, I felt it best not to push her. I wasn't sure how safe Blackvale currently was, either. "Let me and the others exit first, Emperor." Rourke was my number one. His striking gray eyes, midnight black hair, and massive body made anyone who considered approaching me have second thoughts. "Of course, Rourke." I squeezed Aubriana's hand. She didn't return the gesture. "Have her sent to her room as soon as possible, Rourke. She doesn't need to be tormented by this discussion." "Yes, Emperor." When our car stopped, Rourke exited, as did the other dragons from their vehicles. Rourke was approached by an equally gigantic man. No, vampire. They shared a few words, and then Rourke was opening my door. Viara, Aubriana's personal nurse, rushed over from the vehicle she was in. "Rourke told me to get her to her room, Emperor." "Yes, Thank you.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.